Are you like me, where if you go into a doctor's office and you have actually gone to the doctor with a problem, you get there and somehow when you see that white coat, when you see those beautiful rooms, when you sit down, you give a weird answer and say, "Oh, I'm fine." But you've actually come to the doctor with a problem. So I decided to do this video to help people who are like me, who when they get to the doctor for very important visits, most of the time they get tongue-tied, they forget what they were supposed to talk about, and they leave without resolving the issues that they had come to the doctor for. I'm Rose. I'm Dr. Rose, and welcome back to my channel. Today, in this video, I am going to talk about preparing for your first doctor's visit, specifically to talk about menopause or perimenopause or symptoms of perimenopause. I'm going to talk about how to book the visit, and I'll share with you the key words to use to book that visit. For us who are in the United Kingdom, it is very difficult to get a GP appointment. It is not easy to convince the system or to convince the doctor as healthcare assistant that you actually really need to see the GP about things that are affecting you. You have to be convincing, you have to use your keywords, you have to describe what's happening with you precisely and succinctly enough for them to know that this is something that needs to be addressed and to be addressed quickly. And then I'm going to talk about the things that you need to ensure that when you are in the doctor's office, you discuss with the doctor before you leave, and to make sure, especially in the NHS, that you hit the 10-minute window, so that you utilize those 10 minutes that you have to the best of your ability and you get the best out of that visit. And then lastly, I will share with you templates that I have used in journaling my menopause journey. I will share with you templates of my small sticky note that I use when I go to the doctor, because it's perimenopause. So you're most likely going to forget what you wanted to say. You most likely have 1,000 things that you want to talk about, and you most likely will forget a lot of things. So let's get into it. The first thing that you need to do when you want to book your appointment with the doctor is to make sure that you are actually journaling and writing down your symptoms. In the last segment, I will share with you the journal that I use, and I will share with you in the comment section, and in the description box I will put an email where you can send to me a message, and I'll send to you all the resources that I have and that I've used for my journey and for my visits to the doctor, and how I actually put down things in a little diary to make sure I don't forget things that are happening to me and the things that I need to share with the doctor when I get there. So the first thing you do is, number one, is to journal the symptoms. I talked about this in one of my previous videos. If you click on that video, you will see when I'm talking about journaling, and in that video as well, you will see a link in the description box, an email address where you can send and ask for the journal template that I use. So I created that for myself so I could journal it the way I wanted to journal it according to the mood, the time of the month, what is actually happening, are the symptoms, are the emotional symptoms, what do I feel at that time, and also what are the physical symptoms. So that's very important for you to be doing this. In any case, if you're going through perimenopause, it's a very, very critical time that you write down and you journal times of the month when things happen, or times within your cycle, or at least just the dates when things are happening. So when you explain to the doctor, it makes a lot of logical sense. I know a lot is happening to us right now, and we tend to be emotional about it, and we tend to have a lot of things that we want to share. But make sure that you journal your symptoms so that when you want to go, you can condense this into a little smaller journal or a sticky note. I use a sticky note when I go to the doctor, or a simple paper like this where I can write down the actual things that I'm going to the doctor for. So we've said journal your symptoms. That's the first thing you need to do. The second thing you need to do is to come up with a summary of the things that you want to talk to the doctor about. You have to be very clear and very, very succinct in the words that you use and in the description of the symptoms that you're experiencing and which symptoms you want addressed by the doctor. Because as we go through perimenopause, we go through a lot of symptoms. There are many things. There's twitching in the eyes. There's the pain in the joints. There's headaches. There's bleeding. There are a lot of symptoms, and sometimes you're going through a list of like 20 symptoms that you can list at any one given point in time. And when you get to the doctor, it's very good when you have that little template that you have filled in your list of, these are the things that I'm going through, but in this particular visit, the most important symptom that I want to address is this one. Because most of the times, if you address things like the bleeding, you'll find that the headaches, the fatigue gets better. So some of the symptoms get better as you address one symptom. So we say journal your symptoms. Second point, summarize what you need addressed on a sticky note. So you can have your 18 symptoms that you're going through, but make sure you are very clear what has led you to get out of the door and go to the GP's office, or to get that call. Because in the UK, we also get calls from the GP or calls from the consultant. We might not get to see them physically. So you need to have very clear points of, this is what I'm going through, but this is what I want addressed. The third thing that you need to do is to book your call. We have an online booking system, I know, in the NHS for you to book your GP, and you also have some GPs where you can call to make your booking. And what I want to stress on the booking is use your keywords. You need to be very clear on the keywords that you use to make the booking. When I say keywords, I'm talking about the things that will grab the attention of the healthcare assistant, of the secretary who's manning and trying to do triage of the most important cases that the doctor needs to attend to. And also when the doctor sees you, they need to really know what is happening, like what has taken you out of bed and come to the doctor, or pick up the phone and call the doctor. So when you book, use keywords like, if you have that anxiety, if you know it's anxiety, just say, I have extreme anxiety. I feel like I am dying, which is what a lot of us feel during perimenopause. You feel like you're losing your life and your mind in the process. So say, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel like I'm on the verge of having a nervous breakdown. I feel like my body is on fire. I feel like, so that they understand what it is doing to you. When you mention these words, they will know where to put you in terms of triage. Is this a red? Is this an orange? Or is this a green? So they need to know if this is something that they can address, in 2 weeks' time, or if this is something that they need to address immediately. So if you say, I want to talk to the doctor about, my menses, they're giving me trouble. It's very difficult for the healthcare assistant or the GP even to figure out, are you bleeding extensively, or have you missed a couple of periods? It's very hard to like read into that. But if you say, I am bleeding a lot, it is clotty, it is dark, and I am going through 4 packets of pads in 2 days, or I'm going through a box of tampons every day, that gives the healthcare assistant and the doctor a good indication that you are bleeding a lot. If you haven't seen your period in a while, make sure you explain that I haven't seen my period in a while. I've taken a pregnancy test and I'm not pregnant. So I really need to talk to the doctor because this is making me feel, and then you explain what it's making you feel. If you're in a lot of pain, they need to understand that you're in a lot of pain. And also how it's affecting your daily life. That's very important. So the symptom, the severity of the symptom, and how it's affecting your daily life. Like, I can barely get out of bed to go to work, or I can barely make myself a cup of tea, or I cannot get out of bed at all. So they understand the severity of your symptom. Those are the key words when you're booking a course, so they understand exactly what is going on with you, and you know when to call you in, or when to just give you a phone call, or when to immediately refer you to a consultant or to a higher level a healthcare. So make sure you use your keywords. So we've talked about journaling, we've talked about summarizing the key symptoms and which symptoms you want addressed at that particular visit, because they're probably not going to be able to address everything in one visit, but they will address a particular symptom, the worst one. So make sure you are very, very clear which one you want addressed. If you can't sleep, just say, I have terrible insomnia, I haven't slept in a couple of days, or in 3 days, the last 3 days I haven't slept. And then the third thing we said, book your call and make sure you use the keywords. So finally, you've mastered the first 3, and you have your visit. So when you get to the doctor's visit, try not to forget the sticky note. I know we will forget, ladies. Put it in your bag, pack it the night before, put it in your handbag, or if you're talking to the doctor the next morning or the next day, either, slide it in your phone or stick it on your laptop, somewhere where when the call comes in, you are ready with your little template. So I will tell you what I say, what I've learned to say, to be honest, because, I also used to just go to the doctor and say, oh, I feel terrible. And the doctor has to figure it out and fish it out of me and, squeeze information out of me, which is not a good thing because you're wasting time. They have 10 minutes with you or 15 minutes or whatever time is allocated. Other patients are waiting, so they need to do it on time. So I've written it down because I also tend to forget these days. I will tell them, I'm here. So this is just an example of what, I would say. I'm here because I am bleeding a lot. I have other symptoms of perimenopause, hot flashes, and this and this and that. But I'm here because of the bleeding mostly, or because of the insomnia. I haven't slept in a week. I've barely slept 2 hours any day, and it's giving me a headache. I can't go to work. I'm always tired. I need this addressed. I need my iron levels checked. And I'm hoping at the end of this visit, you can help me you can investigate what is causing that. Like if I'm not sure about a symptom, and hopefully you can help me with the resolution to my symptoms. So the doctor will immediately know why you are there. You have a symptom and what you're looking for and what outcome you'd like from the visit. So I know it feels a little bit prescriptive, like, oh, that's a lot of things to say during the doctor's visit. You get there and sometimes the doctor is talking and you're talking and you forget these things. but at least tell them the outcome. Try to remember. Tell them the outcome. What do you want out of the visit? So you can try and figure that out whilst you're sitting in the waiting room thinking about, what do I want at the end of this visit? Do you want a prescription for something? Do you want to be referred further for more investigations, or do you want the GP to initiate some kind of investigations like checking your iron levels, checking whatever levels that you want to get checked? And what would you like when you get the results? Do you want a therapy? Do you want to be referred? Do you want medication? Do you want a prescription? So that will help the doctor to also work it out with you, what they can do and to what extent they can give you that outcome. So the doctor will tell you, well, your symptom is this, and this is how we would address it, and these are the investigations that I can do. When the results come, we will have to take it from there, or I will give you another call with the results and tell you the resolution or my preferred method of dealing with this, and you can work it out. So these are the things that I would definitely use, and tips of how to get through that 10-minute visit with your doctor, and try and nail it in 10 minutes. So if you're like me, sometimes try and practice at home, and try and see if you can nail it in 10 minutes to get to your symptoms in a very clear and succinct way, and be able to know the outcome that you expect from the visit. Because sometimes we just go to the doctor and hopefully something magical is going to happen, or you get a prescription and it will be solved. Sometimes you will go to the GP and they will tell you, this is something we cannot solve. I'm going to refer you further. Or maybe, if you're lucky, it's something that they can actually solve. If it's your very first visit, here are some of the things that I think you should make sure you discuss, that I think are very important. These are the things you must discuss. What stage of menopause do you think you are in, or does the doctor think you are in from the symptoms that you would have presented? How can they relieve some of the symptoms or all the symptoms if possible? What are your treatment options for the symptoms, and what doesn't have any treatment options? And how those options will affect your general life, your work life, if you have a work life, and your family life, and your lifestyle in general. If you're someone who is, like me, suffering from a lot of weight gain and you really like to be outdoors, you also need to discuss with your doctor how you feel about that. To say, I'm not as agile, I'm not as as energetic as I used to be. I feel lethargic, I feel fatigued all the time. I need to feel like myself again. So make sure you explain to the doctor, the outcome you expect and where you want to be at that particular time. So lastly, like I said, the last thing we want to talk about are the templates. So I will put the templates in the description box. There will be an email there. Send me an email and just say templates, and I will send it to you. Or you can put it down in the comment section and say templates, and I will send them to you, and put your email address and I will send them to you. And tell me in the description box as well, in the comment section, how you guys navigate a doctor's visit when sometimes you're not even sure yourself what is going on, especially when you go through that stage where it's affecting your mental health and you're not even sure yourself. Like, am I going crazy? Is this really happening to me? Am I dying? When you lie awake at night and you're not sure what's going on, tell me how you've navigated your doctor's visit. What are your little tricks of the trade when you go to your doctor? How do you address the doctor or your healthcare visit, depending where you are and depending who you go to? I know some people go to what to call menopause therapists. They are out there. There's so many things out there. And yeah, tell us how you're navigating